My name is Gabrielle Martinez, and I learned the cruelest truth a woman can learn while I was 7 months pregnant and on bed rest. My husband was planning to leave me for a woman who claimed to be carrying his baby too. At 30 years old, I thought I had my life figured out. I was a senior marketing manager at a tech firm, pulling in 6 figures. My husband Brandon and I had been married for 5 years, and this pregnancy, our first, was supposed to be the culmination of everything we'd worked for. We'd bought a house with a nursery. We'd painted it soft yellow because we wanted to be surprised about the gender. We'd picked out names together, Maya for a girl, Isaiah for a boy. But at 6 months, my pregnancy became high risk, preeclampsia. My blood pressure was dangerously high, and my doctor ordered strict bed rest. No work, no stress. Just lying in bed, growing our baby, praying we'd both make it through. That's when everything fell apart. Brandon had been distant for months, but I'd attributed it to stress about becoming a father. He worked as a personal trainer at an upscale gym downtown, and his hours had gotten longer and longer. "Building up the client base before the baby comes," he'd say. "We'll need them, Letty." I believed him. God, it was so stupid. The truth came out on a Tuesday afternoon. I was home alone, always alone now, scrolling through Instagram when I saw it. A post from an account I didn't recognize, at Vanessa Glows. The photo showed a woman with honey blonde hair, a tight crop top, and a very visible baby bump. The caption read, "Can't wait to meet our little blessing. Daddy is going to be so amazing. #pregnancy journey, #blessed." I almost scrolled past it, but then I saw the comments. And one of them was from Brandon's account. "Can't wait either, beautiful. Love you both." My blood ran cold. I clicked on the profile. Vanessa Morrison, 26 years old, fitness influencer. And according to her Instagram, 7 months pregnant with my husband's baby. There were dozens of posts. Photos of her in workout gear, showing off her bump, ultrasound images, posts about our journey to parenthood, photos of her and Brandon at restaurants, at the gym, at the beach, living the life I thought we were living. In one photo, they were at a maternity store, Brandon's hand on her belly. The caption, "Daddy picking out the cutest outfits for Baby B. So grateful for this man." Baby B, like they had a cute nickname already, like this was a real family. I couldn't breathe. My chest felt tight, and I realized my hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped my phone. The baby kicked hard, as if sensing my distress. I called Brandon 17 times. He didn't answer. Finally, I texted, "Who the fuck is Vanessa Morrison?" He came home 2 hours later. I was still in bed, doctor's orders, but I pulled myself up to sitting, my laptop open with all of Vanessa's posts displayed. "Gabrielle, I can explain," he started. "You can explain how you got another woman pregnant while I'm carrying your child?" My voice was shaking. "Please, Brandon, I'm dying to hear this explanation." He sat down on the edge of the bed, not looking at me. "It just happened. I met her at the gym. We connected, and then she told me she was pregnant." "When?" "About 3 months ago." 3 months. 3 months of lying. 3 months of him knowing and saying nothing while I was here sick and scared, worried about our baby. "Are you leaving me?" I asked, and I hated how small my voice sounded. "I don't know," he said, and those 3 words destroyed me more than anything else. "Gabrielle, I love you, but Vanessa, she needs me too. She's pregnant with my baby. I can't just abandon her." "But you can abandon me?" I gestured at my swollen belly. "What about this baby? What about your wife? It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple." I was shouting now, tears streaming down my face. "You made a choice when you cheated on me. You made a choice when you got her pregnant. And now you need to make a choice about who you're going to be." "I need time to think," he said, standing up. "I need to figure this out." "Figure it out? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm 7 months pregnant, Brandon. High risk. The doctor said stress could kill me or our baby. And you need time to figure out whether you're going to be here for us? He left without answering. Just walked out of our bedroom, got in his car, and left. I cried so hard I threw up. Then I panicked because I wasn't supposed to be stressing, wasn't supposed to be getting my blood pressure up. I had to call my mother to come over, had to admit that my marriage was falling apart while I was trapped in bed, growing a baby that might not have a father. The next few weeks were hell. Brandon came and went like a ghost. Some nights he slept in the guest room. Other nights, he didn't come home at all. When I asked where he was, he'd say, "With Vanessa. She needs support too." My mother wanted me to kick him out. My best friend Keisha wanted to murder him. But I was scared. Scared of being alone. Scared of single motherhood. Scared that if I pushed too hard, he'd choose Vanessa and I'd lose him forever. So I endured. And I watched. Vanessa's Instagram became my obsession. Every post was a knife in my heart. Photos of her and Brandon at prenatal yoga, posts about our parenting philosophy, a gender reveal. They were having a boy, she'd named him already, Brandon Jr. Meanwhile, I was alone in bed, monitoring my blood pressure, terrified every day that this pregnancy would kill me. Then Vanessa started showing up in my real life. The first time was at my doctor's office. I was there for a routine checkup. Well, as routine as high-risk pregnancy checkups could be, when I saw her in the waiting room. She was wearing a tight maternity dress that showed off her bump, scrolling through her phone, looking perfectly comfortable. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice shaking. She looked up and smiled. Actually smiled. "Oh, Gabrielle, hi! I didn't know you came to Dr. Patterson too. What a small world. Dr. Patterson was my doctor. I'd been seeing her for 2 years. This is my doctor," I said slowly. "Why are you here?" "Brandon recommended her," Vanessa said sweetly. "He said she's the best. And since we're both pregnant with his babies, I figured we should have the same doctor. You know, so Brandon doesn't have to go to 2 different offices." The audacity. The sheer breathtaking audacity. "You need to leave," I said. "I have an appointment." "Leave." I was shaking now, my blood pressure definitely spiking. "You don't get to take my husband and my doctor." The nurse came out, alerted by my raised voice. "Mrs. Martinez, you need to calm down. Your blood pressure." "She needs to leave," I insisted. "She's stalking me." Vanessa stood up, her hand on her belly in a gesture that looked almost practiced. "I'm not stalking anyone. I'm just trying to take care of my baby, Brandon's baby." She left, but not before posting about it on Instagram. "Ran into Brandon's ex at the doctor's office today. So awkward, but staying positive for baby B." Ex. She called me his ex. I was still married to him. The second incident was worse. My mother was throwing me a small baby shower, just close family and friends, because I couldn't handle anything bigger. Brandon had promised to come, to at least pretend we were still a family. He showed up with Vanessa. She walked into my mother's house wearing a matching maternity outfit to mine, the exact same dress in a different color, with her hand possessively on Brandon's arm. "Surprise," she said brightly. "Brandon invited me. I know this is awkward, but I really think we should all try to get along. Our babies are going to be siblings after all." My mother's face went pale. Keisha looked like she wanted to commit murder. And I just stood there, 7 months pregnant, in my own mother's house, at my own baby shower, watching my husband's pregnant mistress help herself to refreshments. "Brandon," I said quietly, "can I talk to you? Alone?" In the kitchen, I finally broke. "How could you bring her here, to my baby shower, in front of my family?" "Vanessa's feelings matter too," he said defensively. "She's pregnant with my child. She deserves to be included." "I'm your wife," I screamed. "I'm the one who's been married to you for 5 years. I'm the one who's sick because of this pregnancy. And you bring your mistress to my baby shower? Maybe if you weren't so dramatic about everything." I slapped him. I'd never hit anyone in my life, but I slapped him hard enough that my palms stung. "Get out," I said. "Both of you. Get out of my mother's house." They left, but not before Vanessa posted about it. "Baby shower drama today. Some people just can't handle the new family dynamic. Praying for peace for everyone involved." That night, lying in bed with my mother checking my blood pressure every hour, I made a decision. Something was wrong. Something about Vanessa's pregnancy didn't add up. The timeline was off. Brandon said she'd told him 3 months ago, which meant she would have been 4 months pregnant then. But I'd seen her Instagram posts from 4 months ago. She'd been posting gym selfies, showing her flat stomach. And there was something else. In all her pregnancy photos, her bump looked different. Sometimes bigger, sometimes smaller. Sometimes high, sometimes low. I knew bodies changed, but this seemed extreme. I started screenshotting everything, every post, every photo, every caption, building a file of evidence that something wasn't right. Because if Vanessa was lying about being pregnant, if this was all a con, then I was going to expose her, in front of everyone, in the most undeniable way possible. I had 2 months left until my due date. 2 months to gather evidence. 2 months to prepare. Brandon thought he was choosing between 2 women, 2 babies, 2 futures. But if I was right, he was only choosing 1 woman, me, and a con artist who was about to lose everything. My baby kicked again, and I placed my hand on my belly. "Don't worry, little one," I whispered. "Mama's going to protect us. I promise." The night after the baby shower disaster, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying every interaction with Vanessa, every photo on her Instagram, every inconsistency I'd noticed. At 2 a.m., propped up on pillows because lying flat made it hard to breathe, I started my investigation in earnest. I pulled out my laptop and created a private folder, Evidence. Then I systematically went through Vanessa's entire social media presence. Her main account, @VanessaGlows, only went back 8 months. Before that, nothing. No posts, no history, like she'd either deleted everything or created a brand new identity. That was red flag number 1. I found her older account through a tagged photo, @VanessaFit2023. This account told a very different story. Posts from a year ago showed her in a relationship with someone else, a guy named Marcus, who looked wealthy based on the luxury cars and restaurants in the background. The comments on those posts were telling. "Can't wait to meet the baby." One comment read from 11 months ago. "So happy for you both," said another. But there were no baby photos after that. No birth announcement. No update, just nothing. Then the account went silent, and @VanessaGlows appeared. I screenshot everything and kept digging. My best friend Keisha came over the next afternoon with takeout and determination. "Okay, walk me through this," she said, settling into the chair beside my bed. "What exactly isn't adding up?" I showed her my timeline. Brandon says she told him she was pregnant 3 months ago. That would make her 7 months now, same as me. But look at these photos. I pulled up posts from 4 and 5 months ago. Vanessa in tight gym clothes, her stomach completely flat. If she was already 3 or 4 months pregnant here, where's the bump? Maybe she's one of those women who doesn't show until late. Keisha suggested, playing devil's advocate. Maybe, but look at this. I showed her a post from 2 months ago, then one from 3 weeks ago. Her bump is bigger here 2 months ago than it is in this recent photo. That doesn't make sense. Keisha leaned closer. "You're right. It's like it shrinks." Exactly. And look at the shape. Sometimes it's round. Sometimes it's more pointed. Sometimes high, sometimes low. I know every pregnancy is different, but this is extreme. We spent the next 2 hours going through every photo, every angle, every post. And the more we looked, the more suspicious it became. "Oh my God," Keisha said suddenly, zooming in on a photo from a charity event Vanessa had attended. "Look at her stomach, right here, at the edge." I squinted at the screen. There was a faint line, like a seam. "Is That's the edge of a fake belly," Keisha said. "I've seen them before. My cousin bought one as a prank. They're surprisingly realistic, but if you catch them at the wrong angle..." My heart was racing. "She's faking it." "We need more proof," Keisha warned. "Brandon isn't going to believe this based on suspicious Instagram photos." She was right. I needed something concrete. That's when I remembered my doctor. Dr. Patterson had been surprised to see Vanessa in her waiting room that day. What if Vanessa had never actually been a patient there? What if she'd just shown up, knowing I'd be there? The next day, I called the office. "Hi, this is Gabrielle Martinez. I have a strange question. Is Vanessa Morrison a patient there?" The receptionist was quiet for a moment. "I can't discuss other patients' information." "I understand, but she's been telling people she's seeing Dr. Patterson. She showed up in the waiting room last week. I'm just trying to verify if she's actually a patient or if she's stalking me." Another pause. Then, quietly, "Mrs. Martinez, I can't confirm or deny patient information, but I can tell you that when that woman showed up last week, we had no appointment for her in our system. She claimed she was there for a walk-in consultation, but Dr. Patterson doesn't do walk-ins for new OB patients." My suspicions crystallized into certainty. "So she's not a patient." "I didn't say that," the receptionist said carefully. "But be careful, Mrs. Martinez, and maybe document everything." I thanked her and hung up, my hands shaking. Vanessa wasn't even seeing a real doctor. Over the next week, I became obsessed. I tracked every post, every claim, every appearance. I noticed that Vanessa never posted about actual prenatal appointments. Just vague, "Doctor says baby is healthy" updates. She never showed legitimate ultrasounds. The ones she posted looked generic, the kind you could download from Google Images. I created a comparison chart. My pregnancy versus hers. Me, regular detailed updates from actual appointments. Real ultrasounds with dates and measurements. Consistent bump progression. Her, vague health updates. Generic ultrasounds with no identifying information. Inconsistent bump size and shape. Then I found her past. Keisha's cousin worked in tech and knew how to do deep internet searches. Within 2 days, she'd found court records from 2 different states. "Gabrielle," Keisha said, her voice serious as she sat beside my bed with printed documents. "Vanessa's done this before. Twice." She spread out the papers. The first case was from 3 years ago in Arizona. Vanessa Morrison, same name, same face in the court photos, had been sued by a man named David Chen for fraud. He'd given her over $30,000 for pregnancy expenses before discovering she was never pregnant. The second case was from 18 months ago in Nevada. Another man, Robert Sullivan, had filed a restraining order after Vanessa faked a pregnancy to try to prevent him from breaking up with her. The court documents included testimony from a doctor who'd examined her and confirmed she'd never been pregnant. "She's a con artist," I said slowly, staring at the documents. "She targets men, fakes pregnancy, gets money and attention, then disappears when she's caught. And now she's targeting Brandon," Keisha finished. "The question is, what's her endgame this time?" I pulled up my bank statements. I still had access to our joint accounts. My blood ran cold as I scrolled through recent transactions. $500 to Vanessa Morrison. Note, baby supplies. $1,200 to Vanessa Morrison. Note: prenatal vitamins and supplements. $2,000 to Vanessa Morrison. Note: crib and nursery furniture. $800 to Vanessa Morrison. Note: maternity clothes. The list went on. In the past 3 months, Brandon had given Vanessa over $15,000 of our money. Money that should have been going toward our baby, our expenses, our future. He's funding her con with your marital assets, Keisha said, furious. Gabrielle, you need to show him this, now. But I knew Brandon wouldn't believe me. He was too far gone, too invested in the fantasy. He wanted to believe Vanessa was pregnant because it justified his affair. If she wasn't really pregnant, then he'd betrayed me for nothing. No, I needed to catch her in the act. Prove beyond any doubt that she was lying. My opportunity came 2 weeks later. Brandon announced that Vanessa was having a prenatal appointment and he was going with her. I need to be there for both of my children, he said, with the audacity of someone who thought he was being noble rather than cruel. Which doctor is she seeing? I asked casually. Dr. Richards at Memorial Hospital. I waited until he left, then called Memorial Hospital's OB department. Hi, I'm trying to confirm an appointment for Vanessa Morrison with Dr. Richards today. I'm sorry, we don't have any appointments for that name today. And actually, Dr. Richards is on vacation this week. Caught in a lie. I immediately called Brandon. Where are you really? At the hospital, like I told you. Dr. Richards isn't even there today. He's on vacation. So where are you actually, Brandon? Silence. Then, Vanessa must have gotten the doctor's name wrong. We're at a different practice. Stop lying to me. I was crying now, frustrated and hurt and so tired of being lied to. She's not even pregnant, Brandon. She's faking it. You're jealous and you're trying to ruin this. I have court records. She's done this before. She's a con artist and you're falling for it. He hung up on me. But I'd planted the seed of doubt. I knew Brandon, knew how his mind worked. He'd start watching for inconsistencies now, whether he wanted to or not. Sure enough, 2 days later, Brandon came home looking troubled. What's wrong? I asked from my bed prison. Nothing, he said, but he was lying. Just, when you hug Vanessa, does her stomach feel weird to you? My heart leapt. Weird how? Like, hard, unnaturally hard. I hugged her today, and it felt like I was hugging a basketball, not a pregnant belly. Brandon, I said carefully. That's because it is like a basketball. It's a prosthetic. She's wearing a fake pregnancy belly. That's insane. Is it? Have you ever felt the baby kick? He was quiet. Have you been to a single real doctor's appointment with her? Seen a real ultrasound with the doctor present? Heard the heartbeat? She says she wants to keep those moments private. Because they don't exist. I pulled out my phone and showed him the court records. Look, Arizona 3 years ago. Nevada 18 months ago. Same scam, different victims. She fakes pregnancy, takes their money, disappears when caught. Brandon stared at the documents, his face pale. This can't be real. Call her doctor. I challenged him. Right now. Call and verify she's actually a patient. I can't just. You can and you will. Because, Brandon, if you don't prove to me right now that she's really pregnant, I'm filing for divorce the day this baby is born. And I'm taking everything. He called. I listened as he asked to confirm Vanessa Morrison's next appointment. Listened as he was told there was no patient by that name. Listened as his face crumbled into confusion and betrayal. She said she was going to Dr. Martinez, he stammered. Maybe I have the wrong office? He called 4 different OB practices. None of them had any record of Vanessa Morrison. She's lying, I said quietly, about all of it. But Brandon wasn't ready to accept it. Maybe she's using a different name for privacy. She's an influencer. She might use an alias. Then ask her, I said. Ask her to show you medical records. Ask her to take a pregnancy test right in front of you. Ask her to go to my doctor with you so we can confirm both pregnancies together. I could see the wheels turning in his head, the doubt taking root. I'm due in 4 weeks, I said. When I have this baby, the truth is going to come out. Because either she has a baby around the same time, or she doesn't. And Brandon, when the truth comes out, you need to decide right now which side you want to be on. He left without answering, but I knew I'd gotten to him. The next week, I put my plan into motion. I called Memorial Hospital, the same hospital where I'd be delivering, and spoke to the head of security. I have reason to believe someone may try to impersonate a patient or gain unauthorized access during my delivery, I explained. Her name is Vanessa Morrison. She's been stalking me, and I have court records showing she's done this before. I sent them everything. The court documents, the Instagram screenshots, the pattern of lies. They took it seriously, flagging Vanessa's name in their system. Then I called my lawyer and filed for emergency spousal support modification. If Brandon was giving Vanessa thousands of our dollars, I wanted it stopped immediately. The legal documents were served to Brandon at work. According to Keisha, who heard from a mutual friend, he'd looked devastated, finally realizing that his actions had real consequences. But Vanessa wasn't done. She posted on Instagram, "Some people will do anything to keep you from your happiness. But God has a plan for me and my baby. Hashtag stay positive, baby B. Hashtag trust the process." The comments were supportive. "Stay strong, girl," and praying for you and your baby. She had no idea that her entire world was about to collapse. Because I was going to deliver my baby soon. And when I did, I was going to make sure Vanessa was there to witness the difference between a real pregnancy and her elaborate lie. And this time, there would be no denying the truth. My water broke at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, exactly 2 weeks before my due date. The pain was immediate and intense, radiating through my body in waves that took my breath away. I called my mother first. She'd been staying in the guest room for the past week, anticipating this moment. "It's time," I gasped, gripping the edge of my bed. Then, reluctantly, I called Brandon. He was still my husband, still technically the father who should be there for the birth of his child. He answered on the 4th ring, his voice groggy. "Gabrielle? What's wrong?" "I'm in labor. Mom's taking me to Memorial Hospital. You should come." "I'll be right there," he said, suddenly alert. Then, after a pause, "Should I tell Vanessa?" Even in the middle of contractions, his question felt like a knife to my heart. "Do whatever you want, Brandon. I don't care anymore." But I did care, because I was counting on it. Counting on Vanessa's obsession, her need to insert herself into every aspect of Brandon's life. Counting on her showing up to my delivery so that her lies would finally be exposed in the most public, undeniable way possible. My mother drove me to Memorial Hospital while I breathed through contractions and texted my lawyer. "It's happening. Make sure hospital security knows." By the time we arrived at 4:30 a.m., I was dilated to 5 centimeters and in significant pain. The nurses got me checked in, started my IV, and began monitoring the baby's heartbeat. Everything was progressing normally, they said, but it would likely be several more hours. Brandon arrived at 5:15 a.m., looking disheveled and anxious. He tried to take my hand, but I pulled away. "You can be here," I said through gritted teeth as another contraction hit. "But don't touch me. Don't talk to me unless it's absolutely necessary. You gave up the right to comfort me when you chose her." He nodded, looking miserable, and sat in the corner chair. My mother stood on my other side, holding my hand, whispering encouragement. At 6:30 a.m., there was a commotion outside my delivery room. Raised voices. Someone arguing with the nurses. "I need to be in there," I'm family. That's Brandon's wife having a baby, and I need to support him. Vanessa. My mother's eyes met mine. She actually came, she whispered. Of course she did, I said, breathing through another contraction. She can't resist a spotlight. Brandon stood up. I should go talk to her. Sit down, my mother commanded with such authority that Brandon actually obeyed. You're not leaving this room until that baby is born. Period. The door opened and my nurse, Sarah, came in with a concerned expression. Mrs. Martinez, there's a woman outside claiming to be family. Vanessa Morrison, she's demanding to be let in, saying she's also pregnant with your husband's baby and has a right to be here. She's not family, I said clearly, and she's not pregnant. She's been stalking me. Hospital security should have been alerted about her, period. Sarah nodded. Security's on their way. I just wanted to confirm with you before we removed her. Period. Please remove her, I said. And Sarah, when security arrives, ask them to search her bag. I believe she's wearing a fake pregnancy prosthetic. I want it documented. Brandon's head snapped up. Gabrielle, you can't? Watch me. Through the door, I could hear Vanessa's voice getting louder. You don't understand. I'm 7 months pregnant. I need medical attention. I think I'm having contractions too. Oh, this was too perfect. She was claiming to be in labor. Sarah left to coordinate with security, and moments later, I heard more voices. Official voices. Security and what sounded like a doctor. Ma'am, if you're experiencing contractions, we need to examine you properly. Please come with us to triage. No, I need to see Brandon first. Ma'am, if you're in medical distress, we need to help you immediately. Please come with us. I smiled through my pain. They were calling her bluff. 20 minutes later, 20 minutes of intense contractions that brought me to 8 centimeters. Sarah returned with a security guard and a woman in a suit who introduced herself as Rita Chen, the hospital administrator. Mrs. Martinez, Rita said professionally, I wanted to update you on the situation. The woman claiming to be Vanessa Morrison has been taken to our triage unit for evaluation. And? I asked, knowing what was coming. Our medical staff performed an examination. She is definitively not pregnant and never has been. She was wearing a prosthetic pregnancy belly, which we've confiscated as evidence. She's currently being held by security while we determine what charges to file. Brandon made a sound like he'd been punched in the stomach. She can't. Mr. Bennett, Rita continued, we found several concerning items in her possession. A fake hospital ID badge with a stolen staff member's credentials. What appears to be a syringe filled with saline. We believe she intended to claim her water broke. And multiple identity documents for newborns, suggesting she may have been planning to steal a baby from our facility. The room went dead silent except for the beeping of my monitors. She was going to steal a baby? My mother whispered, horrified. We're working with police to determine her full intentions, Rita said. But given her history, and Mrs. Martinez, thank you for providing those court records. We believe she may have been planning to fake a delivery and take a newborn from the hospital nursery to maintain her deception. I felt sick, not just from labor, but from the realization of how far Vanessa would have gone. She would have stolen someone's baby, maybe even mine. Mr. Bennett, Rita turned to Brandon. Police are going to want to speak with you as well. They need to determine your level of involvement. I didn't know. Brandon's voice cracked. I swear to God, I didn't know she was faking. She showed me ultrasounds. She talked about doctor's appointments. He broke down, sobbing. Oh my God, she was never pregnant. This whole time. I watched my husband crumble, and I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no pity. Just emptiness and the overwhelming urge to push, because another massive contraction was hitting. "Everyone out except my mother and the medical staff," I gasped. "Brandon, get out. I don't want you here anymore." "Gabrielle, please, get out," I screamed. "You chose her over me, over our baby. You gave her thousands of our dollars. You brought her to my baby shower. You made me beg for your attention while I was high risk and terrified, and it was all for nothing. For a con artist who was never even pregnant." "Mrs. Martinez, you need to calm down," Sarah said urgently, checking my monitors. "Your blood pressure is spiking." "He needs to leave," I insisted. "I can't do this with him here. I can't." Rita nodded to the security guard, who gently but firmly escorted Brandon out of the room. I could hear him crying in the hallway, but I didn't care. My focus narrowed to one thing: bringing my baby safely into this world. The next 2 hours were a blur of pain, pushing, and my mother's voice anchoring me to reality. At 9:47 a.m., after one final, burning push, I heard the most beautiful sound in the world: my baby crying. End of scene. "It's a girl," Dr. Patterson announced, placing my daughter on my chest. "A healthy, beautiful girl." I looked down at her perfect tiny face, her eyes squeezed shut, her little fists waving, and I fell completely in love. "Maya," I whispered, using the name we'd chosen together, before everything fell apart. "Your name is Maya." My mother was crying. The nurses were smiling. And I was holding my daughter, this perfect little human, who was mine and mine alone. Brandon tried to come back in after the delivery. Security stopped him at the door. "Mrs. Martinez has requested no visitors except her mother," the guard explained. "That's my daughter," Brandon argued. "I have a right." "Actually, you don't." My lawyer's voice cut through the hallway. Amanda Rodriguez had arrived, looking professional and fierce. "Mrs. Martinez has filed an emergency custody order. Given the circumstances, your involvement with a woman who attempted to steal a baby from this hospital, your gross negligence during your wife's high-risk pregnancy, and your misappropriation of marital funds, the judge has granted temporary sole custody. You'll have supervised visitation only, pending a full hearing." "You can't do this." "We already did," Amanda said crisply. "The order was served an hour ago. You'll receive your copy shortly. Now I suggest you speak with the police, who are waiting to interview you about your relationship with Vanessa Morrison." I heard Brandon's defeated footsteps walking away, and I held my daughter closer. The news about Vanessa spread like wildfire. By that afternoon, it had made local news. Woman arrested at Memorial Hospital for attempted baby abduction, fake pregnancy scheme. Vanessa's Instagram disappeared within hours, but screenshots had been saved by thousands of her followers. The comment sections exploded. "I gave her money for baby supplies. She was never pregnant. This is insane. I've been following her journey for months." The investigation revealed the full scope of her con. Vanessa, whose real name was actually Katie Moreno, as I discovered, had targeted Brandon specifically because she'd seen social media posts about my pregnancy. She knew he was about to become a father and exploited his anxieties and ego. She'd taken him for over $23,000 in total. Money for prenatal care, baby supplies, emergency medical expenses, and a nursery fund. All of it gone, spent on maintaining her lifestyle while she ran her con. But more disturbing was what police found in her apartment. Fake ID badges from 3 different hospitals, prosthetic bellies in various sizes, printed templates for fake ultrasounds, and a detailed plan for stealing a newborn from Memorial Hospital's nursery. My baby had been her target. She was charged with attempted kidnapping, fraud, identity theft, and stalking. Her bail was set at $500,000, which she couldn't pay. She sat in jail awaiting trial. Brandon tried to visit me at the hospital every day. Every day, security turned him away. On my third day there, he sent a letter through my mother. Gabrielle, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I destroyed everything we built. But please, let me meet our daughter. Let me at least see her once. I'm so sorry for everything. I chose wrong. I believed lies over truth. I abandoned you when you needed me most. I gave away our money to a criminal. I almost lost our daughter to a kidnapping plot because of my stupidity. I don't expect you to take me back. I don't expect anything except maybe one chance to meet Maya and tell her I'm sorry for not being the father she deserves from day one. Brandon. I read it while nursing Maya, my beautiful girl who had her father's eyes, but I hoped would have her mother's judgment. Should I let him meet her? I asked my mother. That's your decision, baby, she said. But whatever you decide, make sure it's what's best for Maya, not about punishing him, not about forgiveness, just what's best for that little girl. I thought about it for a long time. Then I had Amanda draft a response. P. Brandon may have one supervised visit with Maya before I leave the hospital. 30 minutes with my mother present. After that, all visitation will be according to the custody schedule set by the court. He will pay child support, medical expenses, and reimbursement for the money given to Vanessa Morrison. He will sign whatever documents I require for Maya's future. This is not reconciliation. This is me allowing my daughter to meet her father once, so she can never say, I kept her from him. What happens after that is entirely up to how he behaves. The visit happened the next day. Brandon came in looking broken, older than his 32 years. He'd lost weight. He had dark circles under his eyes. My mother placed Maya in his arms, and he started crying immediately. She's perfect, he whispered. She's so perfect. Yes, she is, I said from my hospital bed. And you almost missed this because you were too busy with a con artist. I know. You almost got her kidnapped because you were too stupid to see through obvious lies. I know. You abandoned me when I needed you most because you were thinking with something other than your brain. I know. He was sobbing now, tears falling on Maya's blanket. Gabrielle, I know. I know I destroyed everything. I know I don't deserve another chance. I just wanted to tell her I'm sorry, even if she can't understand yet. He looked down at our daughter. Maya, I'm your daddy. And I'm sorry that I already failed you before you were even born. I'm sorry that I'm going to have to work really hard to earn the right to be in your life. But I promise you, from this moment forward, I'm going to try to be the man you deserve. Even if your mother never forgives me. Even if I only get to see you a few times a month. You deserve better than what I've been, and I'm going to become better. I promise. It was a pretty speech, but I'd heard pretty speeches before. Time's up, I said after 28 minutes. I wasn't giving him the full 30. He handed Maya back to my mother and looked at me. What happens now? Now you leave, I said simply. You figure out your legal situation with Vanessa's case. You get a job, a real job, since I assume your personal training business is about to suffer when word gets out. You pay your child support on time. You show up for your supervised visits on time. And maybe, in a few years, when you've proven you're reliable, Maya can have a real relationship with her father. And us. There is no us, Brandon. You killed us when you walked into that country club with her. You buried us when you gave her my money, and you cremated the ashes when you chose her over your pregnant wife. We're done, forever. He nodded. accepting it, and left without another word. Period. Signed. I took Maya home 5 days later to my mother's house. I'd already had movers pack up everything from the house Brandon and I had shared. I was filing for divorce and selling the property, splitting the proceeds as the law required, but nothing more. Keisha threw me a small welcome home party, just close friends and family, celebrating Maya's arrival and my survival. "You did it," Keisha said, holding Maya while I finally ate a real meal. "You exposed her, protected your baby, and got rid of him. You're my hero." "But I'm just a tired mom who wants to sleep for 3 days straight," I laughed. But she was right. I had done it. I'd survived betrayal, a high-risk pregnancy, and a psychopath who'd wanted to steal my child, and I'd come out the other side stronger. 3 months later, Katie's, trial made national news. The evidence was overwhelming. She was sentenced to 8 years in prison for attempted kidnapping, fraud, and stalking. During her trial, 3 other victims came forward. Men she'd conned with fake pregnancies, stealing thousands of dollars from each. The judge showed no mercy. "You exploited the most fundamental human desire, the desire to be a parent," the judge said during sentencing. "You preyed on people's emotions, stole their money, and came dangerously close to traumatizing a real family by attempting to steal an actual baby. This court finds your actions reprehensible and deserving of the maximum sentence." Brandon attended every day of the trial. Afterwards, he released a statement. "I was a fool who destroyed my family for a lie. I take full responsibility for my actions. I allowed my ego and my weaknesses to blind me to the truth, and I hurt the one person who'd always been loyal to me. I'm working every day to become the father my daughter deserves, and I hope that someday I can earn even a fraction of forgiveness from my ex-wife." The statement was fine. The actions that followed were better. Brandon got a job as a financial advisor. Apparently, he'd finished his certification before all this happened. He paid child support on time, every time. He showed up for his supervised visits consistently. He never missed a court date or a scheduled call. Slowly, grudgingly, I had to admit he was trying. By the time Maya was 6 months old, I allowed unsupervised visits. By her first birthday, we'd established a real co-parenting relationship. "I don't forgive you," I told him clearly when he asked. "I may never forgive you, but I respect that you're being a good father now, and that's what matters for Maya." "That's fair," he said, holding our daughter as she smashed cake into her face at her birthday party. "I don't deserve forgiveness. I just want to be here for her." 2 years after Maya's birth, I was featured in a magazine article about successful single mothers in business. I'd been promoted to VP of marketing at my company and had launched a nonprofit helping women navigate high-risk pregnancies. The interviewer asked about the incident. Everyone knew the story by now. "How did you survive such a massive betrayal while pregnant and in medical danger?" she asked. I thought about those dark days. The fear, the anger, the determination. "I survived because I had to," I said simply. "I had a daughter depending on me, and I refused to let anyone, my husband, his con artist mistress, or my own fear, stop me from bringing her safely into this world." Sometimes survival isn't about being strong. It's about being stubborn enough to refuse to break. Do you have any regrets? I looked at the photo on my desk. Maya at 2 years old, laughing in a park, her smile bright and fearless. "Not a single one," I said. "Everything I went through led me to her, and she's worth every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of pain. She's worth everything." The article ran with the headline, the mother who exposed a con artist and saved her baby. But I preferred to think of myself differently, not as a victim who got revenge, not as a wife who was betrayed, but as a mother who protected her child at all costs. And in the end, that's the only title that mattered. The end. Epilogue, 5 years later. Maya started kindergarten on a sunny September morning. Brandon and I stood together, not together, but co-parents who'd learned to work as a team, taking photos of our daughter in her purple backpack. "She looks so big," Brandon said, his voice thick with emotion. "She is big," I agreed, "and smart, and strong, and she's going to be amazing." Maya ran back to us one more time for hugs. She hugged her father, then turned to me. "Mommy, you're the bravest person in the whole world," she said, repeating something I'd told her once about herself. "No, baby," I said, kneeling down to her level. "You are, and you're going to do brave things every single day." She smiled and ran toward the school, fearless and free. Brandon looked at me. "You did that. You made her fearless." "We both did," I said, generous enough now to share the credit. "You became the father she needed. That matters." As we walked back to our separate cars, separate lives that intersected only through our daughter, I felt at peace. Vanessa was in prison, exactly where she belonged. Brandon had learned his lesson the hardest way possible. And I had Maya, my miracle, my joy, my reason for everything. Life hadn't turned out the way I'd planned. But sometimes, the detours lead you exactly where you need to be. And I was exactly where I needed to be.